channel. I am back with another book haul video, and you may say that I have a serious book hoarding issue, but I do read, so then it's not a real problem, is it? Now, Kitab lovers held their annual Lock the Box sale in my city, Kolkata, from 14th of January to the 17th of January, and I had to go on the first day. Now, if you're people who are not aware of what kind of an event this is, basically you get yourself as many books as you want of various genres as long as you can fit them in the box you paid for. So there are three different sizes of boxes. The first is the money saving box. It's $9.99 and it can accommodate around 10 books. The middle box is 1.5k and it can accommodate around 20 books. And the last is the treasure box, and it costs around 2.5k and it can accommodate 30 books. Of course, if you take hardcovers and thick books, the proportion may vary. Now, I took with myself 1.5k and that was my budget. But in the process of getting all the books, it turns out that I created 4 giant piles of books, 4 giant castles of books. Of course, it couldn't be fit into this middle box. My boyfriend saw that and it was very sweet of him to offer the rest, and he basically gifted me the rest of the money, and together we ended up getting the biggest box, which is the treasure box. And also thank you to him, because he strategically, I still don't know how it's humanly possible, but he managed to fit in 40 books in this box.
I got your back, babe.
Okay, so thank you so much, and without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first book that I see is Girl in the Mirror by Cecelia Ahern. This pretty cover is a compilation of 2 short stories, Girl in the Mirror and The Memory Maker by Cecelia Ahern. I have not read a lot of her books, but I'm really looking forward to this one. Okay, the next book that I see is Doctor Who Decide Your Destiny. Now, getting myself a Doctor Who is more like a tradition, because in 2019 when I first went to the Lock the Box sale, I grabbed myself my first Doctor Who. So I decided this time too I should be getting myself a Doctor Who. And I'm excited to read this. Probably I'll read this in Halloween like I did last time. Okay, this book, I'm going to bring out the main topic. Why I want to talk about this book so much more is because this is the first time I found that a Lock the Box event where mostly you get second-hand books or books which are mostly like torn, tattered, but this time Lock the Box sale had a separate section for newly arrivals where you would get first-hand books, you would get books directly coming from the sellers, you got books which were in mint condition, sealed absolutely. This was one of them. It is I Kissed a Frog and Other Short Stories by Rupa Gulab, and this book is a highly female-driven story, and there are like tons of short stories with different themes, all coming from the female perspective. I am really looking forward to this book because I don't have a lot of books on feminism or which talks a lot about 21st century or contemporary feminism, so I'm really looking forward to that one. Okay, another book that I grabbed myself from the newly arrival section is this one. It is The Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Meltdown. A lot of you probably have heard of Diary of a Wimpy Kid a lot. The reason I grabbed this is because I read tons of psychological thrillers and complex books. Sometimes when my mind is a little too disturbed, I need something so simple, so light-hearted to sort of sane me down. And I decided that because I did not invest so much time and money on children's books when I was a child, so I decided it's the perfect time to get myself a Diary of a Wimpy Kid, my guilty pleasure. Okay, so many more books, I swear. I feel like where the hell should I start from? The other book that I see is Stephen King, The Green Mile. Now, I did not know that this particular book has 6 parts. I knew that this book has several folds to it, but there are 6 parts, and this unfortunately is the 3rd book. So I'm a little sad that I couldn't get myself the first book. However, I'm not too sad because if you have not watched that video of mine where I tell you that you can get books as cheap as 71, you should, because that's where exactly I'm going to get my first and the second book from. And the link will be in the description, so do watch it. Okay, another book that I got is April Fool's The Point Horror book. Now, when I first saw that it's point horror, I literally believed that it's an R.L. Stine book because I already have read a point horror book by R.L. Stine. It's called The Babysitter. And this person also has 3 names, like 3 parts of a name. And I thought it starts with R, so I was like, oh, R.L. Stine, something like that. It turns out it's by Richie Tankersley Cussick. It's not R.L. Stine, but it's still good because I haven't read a lot of these short books on point horror, and I love the last one written by R.L. Stine. I'm looking forward to this one too. Okay, another book that I see is A Series of Unfortunate Events, the 5th book, which is the Austere Academy. Now this is in the hardcover edition. Of course, the one I own is not in the hardcover edition, so it's going to be messing up the whole serenity of my bookshelf, but I do not mind. I don't mind that it's just the 5th book. I did get myself a second book as well, but literally as I was about to get it, someone picked it up in front of me, took it in her pocket, went away. No worries, I'm gonna get myself the second book very soon, but I'm still happy at least I got the 5th book. At least one way I saved money. Okay, there's so many more books to go. We'll be quick enough. Now the next book I'm going to talk about is very close to my heart because literally in the lockdown I completed the Grand County series, the last 2 books in the Grand County series, and I officially completed a part of her series. And I already have 3 books from her next series, which is the Will Trent series, except the first book to start the series. And on Amazon, this book literally the prices were roof high, and I could not grab myself this book for a long time. The moment I saw this book on the rows kept, I was like, I had to grab it. It is Triptych by Karen Slaughter. This is the first book in the Will Trent series, and if you're not aware of the series of Karen Slaughter, you must read it if you're a fan of crime fiction and you like to learn about post-mortem reports and crime related in small town. This is part of the Will Trent, and this is preceded by the Grand County series, which I've already read and loved and became obsessed with basically. So I'm very happy I got myself. It's a little bit torn, it's a little bit tattered and creased from the back, as you can notice, but it's absolutely alright because the inside is specked and clean, which is what matters. The next book that I see is Stephen King, Nightmares and Dreamscapes. This thick book is not just a single story, thank God. It's a collection of, I think 10 or some number of short horror stories written only by Stephen King. So I'm very excited to read this. The next book that I see again is Linwood Barclay, Now No Time for Goodbye. This is the winner of Richard and Judy Summary 2008, and I have read at least 2-3 books of Linwood Barclay, and I've always seen a sticker which says that you should read No Time for Goodbye. It's her best book, bestseller of. I'm so glad that I finally got my hands on this. Okay, the next book that I see is PJ Tracy, Dead Run. Now, I have never heard of this author before, but I'm really looking forward to this author because it is going to be a very action-packed thriller book. And I always fancy action-packed thriller book. It always keeps me on the edge. The next few books were very surprising for me because number 1 is The Lord Lost by Darren Shan. Now, if you follow my previous videos, you would be knowing by now that I am reading the whole series of Lord Lost in the most sporadic fashion possible. So I'm not reading it in any form of order. So when I saw this, the first book actually, so when I saw this, I had to grab it, and I'm so happy. The page condition is not so good, but I'm not going to complain. The next book that I got was a very surprising book. From whatever I read from the blurb, I can tell you this is a 21st century kickstart of Lolita. This is called Lamb, and it's written by Bonnie Nudzum. My boyfriend is looking away because it's a very, very bad book. Now this book stars Tommy, who is 11, and David Lamb, who is 54. And accordingly, there is nothing wrong with that sort of a relationship, is there? So it's going to be a very disturbing read, I'm not gonna lie, but I am super excited to read something which will resemble Lolita, because Lolita was my absolute favorite. Why was it? He's making faces, but don't make faces. Okay. The next book, actually the real reason this book got my attention was the peculiar cover. It has a hole in the form of an eye and it's a baby doll, so it's creepy. It's Donna Tartt, The Little Friend, and this is another suspenseful book. It's about a 12-year-old sister who goes about to find out the real reason why his brother was murdered, and that unfolds a lot more havoc in her life. So it's going to be a suspenseful book. I know it's going to be an amazing book because I've read the comments from all the people, all the established organizations, and people have said great things about it. So I am super pumped up to read this. Another disturbing read, by the way. Okay, next books I'm going to talk about. Let me show you properly. There's still so many books left even after I'm done with so many. Okay, this book that I'm going to talk about is Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater. Now this is part of the series. I already have Linger. Coincidentally, I bought Linger in Lock the Box event from 2019 and I never could get my hands on Shiver for some reason. So I'm so happy that finally I got my hands on Shiver. So I have the first 2 books and soon I'm going to complete the series because I have not read The Raven Boys. So I'm starting with this and then I'm going to move on to The Raven Boys. Pretty exciting life. Okay, the next book is The Memory Keeper's Daughter by Kim Edwards. Now this book resembles stories just like Jodi Picoult's. So if you're a fan of Jodi Picoult, you must try out this book. Now this book is about a father whose wife is pregnant and she gives birth to a healthy son but a daughter with Down syndrome. Now in order to protect his wife and his family, he decides to give away the daughter to the nurse and lies to the mother that the baby was stillborn. And that follows the story of the girl with the Down syndrome, and I think it's going to be a very mesmerizing, riveting sort of a book. And I've already read tons of Jodi Picoult's book and I'm super excited to read this one as well. Okay, the next book is by Fiona Barton, The Widow. Now literally last year, right after the lockdown was lifted off, I started buying. I went on a buying spree basically for books, and that's when I discovered Fiona Barton, The Child. That was a book that blew my mind off in 2020. It was one of the best books with the most surreal twists ever. So I saw a Fiona Barton book in there and I knew that I had to grab it. I have full faith it's going to blow my mind off again. Okay, so if you guys have followed me for till now, you guys know that I'm a huge sucker for psychological thrillers, and that's what I literally went on a hunt for, and I grabbed myself tons of them. The first one is Long Time Lost by Chrissy Vaughn. This is another psychological thriller, and I know one thing, that it's going to be amazing. The next book is by Nikki French. It is Blue Monday, A Day for Murder, and the cover is what actually attracted me. It's a little kid's shoe left off, and I know it's going to be about a child, and psychological thrillers revolving around a child are actually going to be more addictive, at least for me that is. The next book, again another psychological thriller. It is A Blind Faith by C.J. Lyons, and not just the cover, the blurb also attracted me a lot. Okay, this book is written by an author I have read quite a few books of, and it is Louise Douglas's The Secret by the Lake. I have read the blurb, and one thing I can guarantee you when you read a Louise Douglas is that it's going to be amazing. It's going to be something you do not expect. Me being the detective again, I have to figure out the story before the author does. I decided that this is the perfect time to get her books because she writes impeccable. The next book that I see is Persons Unknown by Susie Stainer. Now I also got her book Missing Presumed, but because it was not fitting in the box, I actually did not grab it. Instead I got this one, and it's a detective / crime fiction. And crime fictions and psychological thrillers go hand in hand for me, so I'm excited about this as well. The next book is Stuart Magbridge, In the Cold Dark Ground. Now, I read the blog and it is a little more than what meets the eye for me. I think the story is going to be more gripping and it's going to reveal more than just what the blog did. So I'm looking forward to this one. And lastly, in this row, we have Harlan Coben, Missing You. The cover looks gorgeous. Again, I've not heard of the author before, but I did see this author popping up in my Amazon recommendations and I decided that it's the perfect time to get it. And also the condition of the pages were absolutely brilliant. Okay, we're literally narrowing down. Okay, now the next few books are usually YA. I am only left with one more psychological thriller. Now, these two books I really want to talk to you about because okay, my friend got a Mitch Albom book and literally I wanted a Mitch Albom book for so long, but it's not any book of Mitch Albom. There's this particular book that I wanted of Mitch Albom, and just before that incident, some girl, she called up her father and she said, yeah dad, I already got that book that you wanted, and she said the name. And I thought, oh my god, that's the book that I wanted too. So we were already billing and I was on the third in line. I just literally happened to ask Kushi, my best friend went along with my boyfriend. I just happened to ask her that, where did you get the Mitch Albom book? She just spotted where she found it. I went. The first two books I saw were the two books that I've been wanting since I came in the Lock the Box sale. And it is The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom and The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. Both these books were in my Amazon wishlist for the longest I remember. I think ever since 2019, the middle of 2019. And I'm so happy that I got them. And literally they were like kept exactly like this. Amidst the chaos that people had created over the books, these two were intact. And I was so grateful. Okay, the next book that I got was again another book that I've been wanting for a long time, and it is Memoirs of GEISHA by Arthur Gordon. Now, I have seen a lot of people read this, I have seen a lot of people own this, and I wanted to know what the hell is this book about. I'm so glad that I got it. The next book was, okay, so this book also has a story. This book my boyfriend wanted to gift me for my pre-Christmas gift. Instead of Feels Like a Firestorm book, he wanted to gift me The Miniaturist by it's by Jessie Burton. And of course we didn't end up buying it, but it's still in my wish list. And as soon as we went there, I think it was like within 15 minutes I spotted this book and I was like, oh my god, are we literally getting this book? It's an international bestseller and I'm super excited about this. Another book, okay, many books rather, which were on my wish list. One of them is Saving Grace by Jane Green. And as you can see, the condition is absolutely brilliant. The next is John Green. It's Will Grayson by John Green and David Levithan. I have heard about this book for so long. This book was also in my add to cart. And another book that was also in my add to cart is Help. It is The Help by Kathryn Stockett. If you don't know, there's also a movie based on this, but I'm glad I'm reading it before that. And the last few books that I can see is this gorgeous hardcover. This is a classic. It is Far from the Madding Crowd. It is by Thomas Hardy. It gives you that ancient classic look, which I'm very happy for. And the last book, of course, this is in this row, the last book is Second Life by S.J. Watson. Now, S.J. Watson is the brilliant author of Before I Go to Sleep, which I've already read and loved. And I'm so excited what she's going to bring on the table for this book. Okay, and in the last row we have 3 more psychological thrillers. The first one is another Karen Slaughter book. This is The Kept Women, and this book I believe is the last book in the Will Trent series. So officially I have the first book, the last book, the middle book. So I'm good to go. I can start the series. And the next book is The Watcher by Ross Armstrong. This book gives me the vibes of The Girl on the Train, The Woman in the Window. So I'm excited. I'm actually excited to to see what this book is going to bring, which is different than the other two books. And lastly, we have Lisa Gardner, Touch and Go. The cover is absolutely gorgeous, and I know that this book is going to be amazing because I have already read some reviews and it's actually amazing. Now we have come to the end of the unboxing video and we're only left with this stack of Dale Carnegie books. Now this book again came from the newly arrival section, and this was actually sealed, but my boyfriend had to undo it because he had to make it fit in the box. And they are How to Win Friends and Influence People. I've already read this book a little. My mom says great things about this book, and so does my boyfriend, so I'm going to give this a read. The Quick and Easy Way to Effective Speaking, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. This one is a thick book. And last two books are How to Develop Self-Confidence and Influence People by Public Speaking. And finally we have How to Enjoy Your Life and Your Job. So these are the 5 books, and these were the last books in the whole box. And that's it for this video. I have finally managed to talk about all my 40 books and unbox them. I'm super happy. Now, before I end this video, a huge shout out to Diasha. She's the one who captured all these amazing scenes for you guys. And that's where she also ran her business for scented candles and jewellery. Her link is in the description below. So if you are a fan of scented candles and if you want to own some jewelleries and also gift it to your friends, that's the perfect spot for you. So do check out her page, and till my next video comes, do not forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. This, again, two-way street. Come on, I need to see more subscribers. Now, till my next video comes, stay happy, stay blessed. Bye.